think you've won? Huh. That's the beauty of it. Killing's killing. Whether it's done for duty, profit, or fun.
They're apparently the latest victims of the Night Stalker, thought to be responsible now for 34 brutal attacks, 14 of them fatal.
Satan's everywhere. He's even inside you.
The beginning was brilliant. That direct address was an excellent way to confront the audience and capture our attention and capture our moral heartstrings, I suppose. A really nuanced and contemplative look at evil, at how we grapple with it, and how we can maintain faith in goodness despite the senselessness of some crimes and evils in our world. I thought the performances were deeply grounded and that they had dramatic, high stakes, but they stayed grounded despite how intense this is. And we really got into the sense of the torment and the grappling with this almost debate. It's really easy to empathize and put myself into the shoes of both characters and their viewpoints. Lovely stylized moments and creative ways of recreating these gruesome events in a dramatic but slightly poetic way, instead of the obvious. And it still maintained that gravity and concern. And I also thought it was really important to have the listing of the victims' names and how it was done, so I could sit with it. And those atrocities weighed even deeper throughout. But I thought this was really, really well done.
This piece clearly displays the juxtaposition of good and evil. It uses records of crimes as a structure for the piece, as far as the timeline. And the character is displaying a lot of evil, very convincing portrayal of this evil man. And then the piece shifts back and forth. His characterization shifts back and forth between sort of this evil side and this person masking the evil. When these evil acts are portrayed in those scenes, the lighting is very dark, very heavy shadows, low light. And it is hard to take in the fact that someone would find as much joy as this performer portrayed performing such evil acts on innocent people. He refers to the devil being in all of us. And it is very clear from this performance that it is very prevalent in this character. It was a very convincing performance. It definitely had all the elements that you would want to have in a murder, mystery, crime, horror, thriller film.
Super creepy and ominous in the beginning, which I think is what they were going for. And it captures the overall vibe very well. It's hard to grasp to me that they were creating this multi-dimensional character that was both evil and committing terrible acts, and also talking about it and the faith. And it really makes me think back to the killers in slasher films and murder mysteries and horror movies, and about their thought processes and motives, and delving further into those characters.
The short film expresses the relationship that we have with guilt. Here it is kind of set up in a stage of reenactments of basically what could potentially be the last moments that the victims had shared with Richard himself. So you really get this really dark silhouetted interpretation of this point of view perspective of the victim's eyes. As we flash back and forth, we are set in a room with these two gentlemen. It seems like one was a detective on the case and is feeling this sense of guilt of not finding him sort of soon enough. And the other one is a priest or someone, a religious figure, so to speak, as he's essentially in this confessional of how to deal with the guilt of what haunts him from these heinous crimes.
I really liked the opening. I thought it was a really cool shot, the close-up of the guy, and really cool lighting there. And when he did this with his hand and there was a swastika, I thought that was just a really cool setup. And this is about a Night Stalker case, and I thought the music was great, and I liked the narration. I thought this could be a limited series. So I love crime documentaries, and I thought this could be a limited series, and it almost felt like a documentary, but I wasn't quite sure if it was or not, so that's great. It kept me really interested. It was an interesting perspective with the killer and the victims, too. There were at times I thought it was creative, and it was a really interesting mix of quality to me. I felt like there was high quality in many of the scenes, and then it would go to scenes where I thought the quality wasn't quite as consistent. And I'm talking just with everything. So technically, maybe even like some of the women screaming, it just didn't feel legit. But then some of it was really well done, like the woman who got raped, the close up on her. She was really great actress. And I don't know, just some of it felt a little, I don't know if that was a creative choice, the way that this was filmed. It was just very interesting, and it really did kind of feel like a documentary slash also a film.
So it's kind of like semi like fictional, but it just gave us like a sense how the character like want to use like their own like superstitious sense to solve like the problem or the mystery of the cases. And I feel like it's pretty like interesting to watch. It's thrilling and it's kind of like adrenaline pumping with the tone, with the pacing of the story. And the characters are pretty well done with the dialogues and the performance. So I feel like it's pretty well blended together with all the aspects and makes a short film kind of like an elevated thriller shot to follow and fun to be through by it.